Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Woo! Great to be with you all. Tonight is party time. Is that right? Yoo-hoo! And Don is paying for the drinks. Woohoo! Isn't that wonderful? And he's got big pockets, so thank you. Is Don here? No. No, he says, thank you, Don, and we're going to have a good time tonight. Well, here you are getting a vision for the future. Microsoft WinDays17, look into the future. How do we find the future? Bring a blind man along. Follow the blind man. What? The silly blind man can't even find his way to the front without help, and somebody has told you to follow the blind man. So, you know, what other qualities in leadership your people have here? There's a sense of humor. Well, what on earth can you learn from a stupid blind man? Well, maybe two areas I can help you. Number one, as you've heard, I've spoken in something like coming up now, 1,200 corporate events in 70 countries. This is my 26th event this year in 13 different countries. I'll tell you something, as Don was saying earlier, the whole world is going crazy. There's a revolution. There's so much change on the way. Today, there are more mobile phones in the world than toothbrushes. What does that mean? What a stupid thing. More phones than toothbrushes. Well, and there's bigger changes than that. So here's the good news. Even though you, maybe in your personal life or within business right now, you're facing a lot of challenges, you're in good company, it's a global phenomenon. Everywhere I go, people are stressed, Miles. There's so much change. Slow down. It'll never slow down. You and I have to find a way of embracing positive change. So not only have I seen people like you around the world, I've had to go through a lot of change in my own life through going blind unexpectedly. So this session now is all about you. The person next to you, the person in front of you, the person behind you, forget about them. This is a private, personal message to you. I want to help you in your personal life, your family life, and your business. I want to help you get your stress levels down, and I want to help you be more fulfilled, gut-level happiness here, and of course, within your business to be more successful. Is that fair enough? Are you happy with that? Yes. Okay, so I grew up in a country called Zimbabwe in Africa. As a little boy, nothing wrong with my eyes. So when I was 18, I joined the Air Force. My father was a World War II fighter pilot. I was going to be a pilot like my dad. But I failed my medical. Miles, sorry, your eyesight is rubbish. You will never fly. You will never be a pilot. 3 years later, I got the really bad news. Miles, you're going to go totally blind. It's a genetic disease that jumped many generations, hit me and my brother Jeffrey. Everyone said, Miles, it's the worst thing that could happen to anybody in the world, and it's happened to you. And I thought, isn't it nice having friends to encourage you at times like that? So right until the age of 50, I had a victim mentality. I thought I could never be happy or fulfilled or successful as long as my circumstances were rubbish. I want to give you some life principles that have turned my life around through the process of going blind and the expeditions I've taken part in. Number one is this: your quality of life today is not dependent on your current circumstances in your personal life or your business life. It's on your response to them. I did not understand that. So up until the age of 50, I had a victim mentality. It's not my fault. I can't do anything with my life. I'm blind. Everybody knows to be blind is rubbish. Some of you are facing big challenges today in your private life other people don't know about, others within your business. Here's a question. Would you rather have your current problem or go blind? Would you rather be blind? Shout if you'd rather be blind today. Yes? Shout? Okay. All right. So things aren't so bad, you know, if you'd rather have your problems than be blind. So anyway, what turned my life around at the age of 50 was my brother. He also went totally blind. He lives in Durban, in South Africa, and he built this yacht as a blind man in his back garden by field. Couldn't see anything. Now, if you want a stupid hobby for a blind man, it's building a boat in the back garden. Who does he think he is, Noah or something? What a stupid hobby. Anyway, when he launches it, it doesn't sink, it's floating. Everyone said, oh, bless, that was built by a blind man. 5 minutes and it's still floating. Oh, bless, well done. What are you going to do with it now, blind man? My brother says, I'm going to sail it from South Africa to Australia, Durban to Fremantle, all by myself, nobody else on board, relying on speech output on my navigational instruments. Everyone said, Jeffrey, it is impossible for a blind man to cross an ocean solo. You're not just a blind man, you're a stupid blind man. But my brother said, no, it's not impossible, just never been done before. Listen, number one life principle, your quality of life, your potential to grow your business today is not based on the economy, Brexit, the Greeks, the euro, blah, 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 the French elections. It's to do with what's going on in your head. Number two, many things in your life, not impossible, you just haven't done them yet. 51 days later, he arrives in Fremantle. Okay, he nearly drowned 5 days in a force 10 gale, but he made it. So I flew to Australia, famous photograph, 2 blind adventurers, Fremantle Yacht Club, clinking our glasses of beer, looking at the camera, looking really posy. But when people see the photograph, one glass is here, the other one's way up in the air like that, looking stupid, really stupid. So my kids say, Dad, please don't pose. You are such an embarrassment to us. Anyway, but he confused me because now there were 2 blind people. I had a victim mentality. I can't do anything. I'm blind. I'm a poor blind man. My brother set an amazing world record. Same situation. One set a world record. The other was waiting for change. My brother said, Miles, stop focusing on your problems. Stop focusing on your problems. Focus on your dreams, on your goals, what you want to do with your life. So that was a big life revelation for me. Number 3, for me, what has transformed my life? Now, I don't start with my blindness. Shame, poor blind man. I'm starting with what I want to do. So in this case, I wanted to be a pilot. So I'm now living in England, flew back to England, and I thought, okay, I am going to be a pilot. And now, I'm a fully qualified microlight pilot. This thing is as wide as the chair you're sitting on. It is only 10 foot long, and I've flown it at over 20,000 feet. And I decided to fly from London to Sydney in Australia. But Miles, how can you fly if you can't see? Well, I thought, listen, I've got a brain. The only thing wrong with my body is these peepers, they don't work. My ears work, everything else works. I've got a brain like other pilots. So I thought, if I can't see, is there any other way of getting that information off my flight instruments into my brain? Of course, these flappy things, they work and stuff goes in. So that's how I learned to fly. Everything comes into my headphones. Now, I wanted to, I'd love to be a commercial pilot. I'm fully qualified. I've applied to BA, Qantas, KLM. Nobody will let me be a pilot. My last hope, Ryanair. Fingers crossed, maybe Ryanair will let me be a pilot. So anyway, but in the meantime, I had to have a sighted co-pilot with me to fly to Australia. They won't recognize me in England as a pilot just because I'm blind. We call it discrimination. Anyway, so for 4 years, I decided to prepare to fly to Australia. Many challenges, but I never gave up telling people, one day I'm going to fly to Australia. One day I'm going to fly to Australia. Some of you have given up on your dreams and your goals from the past. Oh, beautiful people. One of the key things if you want to succeed in life, don't give up. Failure is just part of life, but go back and keep on learning. So after 4 years, I'm ready to fly to Australia. I have a sighted co-pilot with me. He's been with me all along. The night before I'm due to fly, my co-pilot has a panic attack. 9 o'clock the next morning, I'm leaving. BBC, Sky, Reuters, all the world's meeting and see me off. But my friend at 10 o'clock at night, co-pilot, he's in the toilet in tears, phoning his wife. He's not going to go. I said, what's wrong? Why aren't you coming now? He said, we're going to die. I said, how do you know we're going to die? You're blind. I said, listen, you know I'm blind. You've seen a white stick. For 4 years, you've seen me walking around with a white stick. Why didn't you have a panic attack 4 years ago? I don't know. Stupid idiot. True story. So 10 o'clock at night, I'm on my phone trying to find someone willing to fly all the way to Australia in a microlight with a blind pilot. And I phoned this chap. His name is Richard. He was asleep. He actually had 4 cans of beer, 11 o'clock at night. He's a farmer. He's snoring away. BBC News rumbling away. His wife wakes him up. Richard, phone call. It's a blind man. He's a microlight pilot. There's a man on the phone. Will you go for a flight in a microlight tomorrow with him? Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah. Where does you want to go? Australia. Australia, yes. And he's blind. He's blind. Anyway, he said, yes, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. So we had a most amazing time. Nearly died a few times. When I finally got to Australia, flying from Darwin over the Northern Territory, ran out of fuel, big, strong headwind, so I just landed on the road, missed all the traffic, went and got some more fuel. Here in Croatia, if you land an aeroplane on a public road, they put you in prison. In Australia, they give you free beer. Whoa, way to go. So I had the most amazing time, and we finally got to Sydney 55 days later, and let me just plug this in there. Let me just go back to that. I was just checking. So it took me 55 days, and we arrived in Sydney. And this video clip I'm running now is what it was like when I arrived in Sydney. Here we go. Sorry, let me just put it there. Sorry, let me go back again.
Slide 8.
Okay, let's try that again.
Sydney TV.
Home is 20,000 kilometres behind him, and the world's most beautiful city is unseen beneath his wings.
Between the bridge and the Opera House.
It doesn't matter. In his heart, Miles Hilton-Barber sees everything.
Tiger!
The first blind man to fly across 21 countries in an oversized hang glider.
I can smell what's growing in the fields below the crops.
He navigated with talking instruments and co-pilot Richard Meredith Hardy, who stood in at the last minute.
I got this call. Would you like to fly a microlight to Australia starting tomorrow with a blind man? And, well, what can you say, really?
He said yes!
They froze over the mountains of Lebanon, nearly crashed into cliffs in Malaysia.
Pouring with rain. The engine was bellowing, trying to cope with all the water going through it. Lightning flashes ahead of us.
He risked his life to raise money for blindness programs in third world countries. Miles has also finished the world's toughest foot race, 250 kilometres across the Sahara. He's done the world's coldest marathon in Siberia, sledged 400 kilometres across the Antarctic, and he's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
The only thing holding me back is 5 inches, and that's the distance between my ears. Attitude is what determines altitude.
He hopes Australia smells like a cold beer. Ella Callan, 7 News.
My friends, I've got a big message for all of you, and that is simply this. Some of you, in your business or in your personal lives, are waiting for things out there to change. Maybe your bank balance, your health, blah, 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 the economy, and you're wasting time. I wasted 30 years of my life waiting for things out there to change. My brother said the change had to be here. So another big life lesson I've learned is facing my fears. I've got 2 basic fears. One is that I'm afraid of height. This is me abseiling 350-foot down Table Mountain in South Africa. And I'm also claustrophobic. This is me diving on a wreck in the Red Sea, more than 100 feet down. When I was learning to scuba dive, I was panicking in 3 foot of water, just putting my head in the water. And the instructor said, blind man, if you're going to stop panicking, you've got to change the way you think in your head. The word for fear in English, F-E-A-R, it stands for false evidence appearing real. Listen to me. Big life lesson number 4. False evidence appearing real. Every one of you listening to me now, in your head, in some areas, you've got wrong thinking here. You failed in the past. This is too big. This isn't the right time. It's false evidence. It appears real, and it's holding you back. And what I've done, I no longer allow what people think about blindness. Blind people can't do this, they can't do that. Rubbish. I want to explore. I start with my goals, my dreams, and think, okay, how can I do it if I'm blind? So I learned how to fly. Another thing I wanted to do was drag racing. So this is a place called Santapod in the UK. I wanted to be a drag racer because no blind people have done it. So this chap, it's only, by the way, what you call a Honda Civic, but it is a Type R, 2-litre engine. This chap gets over 800 horsepower out of a 2-litre engine. So 0 to 250 kph, about 12, 13 seconds, depending on if the blind man misses a gear, 5-speed manual box. So anyway, he said, no, you're not going to drive this. You're blind, and blind people can't drive. So I said, wait, I've got an idea. We went to a disused airport runway in England. I said, okay, imagine the runway is a 100-meter athletics track. As long as I'm in the middle, as I'm going through the gears, he's sitting next to me. So, okay, that middle, that's lane number 5. So if, as long as I'm in the middle, you keep on shouting, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, go up at the right, 6, 6, 6, get right near the edge, 9, 9, 9. So that's how I was doing it. So I'm feeling quite confident. So I'm ready to go. Santapod, thousands of people from around Europe, big championships. But over the PA system, the idiot tells everybody, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in world history, we've got a blind driver. I said, a blind driver coming down the track. Get out the way, get the kids in the car, lock up the dogs, you know. Oh, made me all nervous. So I said to Guy, my friend, I need the toilet. So we go to the toilet. All these little urinals against the wall. So I'm having a pee in the urinal, and Guy from the other end shouts, Miles, 3, 3, 3. And anyway, it wasn't funny, but I was missing. I was so nervous. So anyway, as I came out of the toilet, he hit his head and said, I can't believe it. You stupid blind man. You can't even aim into a toilet. We're going to die if your aim is that bad. But I said, no, I'm just nervous. So I wound up the windows, pretended there was nobody there. Here we are heating up the tires. Here's the Marshall steering wheel strapped up and ready to go. And this is us going down the track. Can you see nobody smiling there? Looks very sad. So, you know, just a bit of life and death. 250 kph. Anyway, lots of things happened. I did 6 runs down the track, and this video clip I'm running now are one of the 6 runs. Here we go. Bit of volume. Go. 5, 4. Yeah, not too bad, and we're not too far in this time, I think, with the weights and our configuration. I just did 6 runs down the track. On the last one, I managed to burn out the clutch. He was very upset, and a bit of smoke pouring, and I said, don't blame me, it's the clutch, 800 horsepower technology. So, and one of the young people I was racing against put up a real good time on the digital clock. Someone tapped him on the shoulder, said, you were beaten by a blind driver. Whoa, he felt terrible and made my day. So I thought, okay, if I can go straight, what about going around corners? Whatever I do in my life, I think, what about more? What about more? So I thought the next thing is, let's see if we can go around corners. This is a 5.6-litre V8 Mustang Killarney circuit in South Africa. This baby does 0 to 100 kph, 2.8 seconds. I had the most amazing race. Nearly died, but what the heck. It was so noisy that, you know, he told me I thought he said we were entering the back straight, we were exiting the back straight, so a bit of a problem, but we didn't die. So anyway, a lot of fun. All the time I'm looking for new ways of living to the full. But just over a year ago, I had a chance to do the New York Marathon. Any of you people done marathons, yes? Yes? Oh, I forget, you don't have a personal life. I forgot, I'm so sorry. I did read it somewhere. Anyway, but surely some of you have done marathons, yes? Some of you, yes? Shout. Okay, well, listen. 2 weeks before the New York Marathon, I was 66 years old, no running for 7 years, no training at all. 2 weeks to go, Miles, there's a chance to do the New York Marathon. Do you want to do it? Also had damaged ligaments in my kneecap. So the obvious answer, yes, baby, let's go and do it. So maybe not the usual thing, but you know what? Life is full of green traffic lights. Most of us are colorblind. We're so afraid of failure. Oh no, I don't want to do that in case I fail. There's something worse than failing in life, and that is failing to try. Guys, one day we're all going to die, you know, and I'll tell you what, there's just a slim chance your company will continue even if you die. Is Don actually here on the front row, yes? You're here, Don. If you die tomorrow, I presume Microsoft would collapse, is that right? Would they collapse? Good man, I like attitude, baby, attitude. So, but think about it. There's more to life than just work, you know, and the most effective people I meet in life have got a balance. The most inspiring leaders I meet have got inspiring things in their personal as well as their business life. If you think that your personal life has no impact on your business life, talk to Tiger Woods. He'll tell you a different story. You see? So you've got to have that balance in your life. So I did this run. It was useless. You want to know how long it took me? 6.5 hours. What a terrible time. Failure, total failure. Well, I was raising money for little children born blind with cataracts. 240 children got to see what their mother and father looked like for the first time because of the money I raised. So was that a failure or was that a success? Well, they don't care if I took 6 weeks or 6 years. All they know is that they can see now they had a wonderful gift. So all I want to say to you, guys, get a grip, get a balance back in your life. You've only got one life. And somebody told me the other day, all of us have been given 2 lives, and we begin the second one the day we realize we only have one. This next video clip are some of the things I've done since I turned 50, and I'll talk you through them. Here we go. I was the first blind person to fly the English Channel a few years ago. I've done 4 desert ultras. This is crossing the Qatar Desert, only 120 miles, but that thing I'm pulling weighs 400 pounds, and I pulled it for 3.5 days without stopping to rest or sleep. Very stupid thing to do. Wing walking, I'm afraid of height. I was on this aerobatic Boeing Stearman, getting rid of my fear of height. Didn't work, I was quite scared. I want to be the first blind man to pull a sledge to the South Pole from the coast. No good for Microsoft. Virtually nobody there and no Wi-Fi or anything. Flying this Dornier 3-engine float plane, Austrian air display, got to 100 foot, banking at 60 degrees. Behind were some VIPs. They saw a blind man flying the plane. They began to vomit over their Armani suits in terror. I took that as a compliment. I don't even own an Armani suit, so it serves them right. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. Then I had a race with a British general, bridge building stuff in the Royal Engineers in Germany. I think I beat him into the water. Hot air ballooning, coming up over the Nevada desert. Had a bit of a crash, blood, broken ribs. Being American, they thought we'd sue them. We just wanted to do it again. It was great fun.
Get over here fast. The group will need
Climbing
to conserve
Kilimanjaro.
what little energy they have left. The route to summit camp means crossing the Barranco Wall, 600 feet of rock face.
There's certainly some dodgy sections when I have to listen very carefully to John when he tells me to keep to the right, and I may know that there's a life-threatening drop on my left. It's quite hard always to listen to the information when you're tired and you just want to get there. So we go through some dodgy places, but it's again me just utterly trusting John. I know that he's giving me good information, and I've just got to go with it and believe that I'm safe with him.
Malaysian Grand Prix circuit. I hold the lap record for a blind driver. 120 mile an hour through the chicanes. Spun up a few times, but I managed to get back on, and I even won the race. Didn't see the flag, but afterwards people said, "Bonus, blind man, you're the winner." It was quite exciting. We kept the black side, the rubber side down, and it was phenomenal. We lost it on a couple of corners, but she's very, very stable, and we had to point her in the right direction a couple of times, but apart from that, we kept going the right way around, which is what it's all about. Tiger!
Never go driving with a blind man.
White water rafting down the Zambezi. I got thrown out. I did 3 sets of rapids. Quite scary knowing the crocodiles are waiting in the green water. Then I went cage diving with great white sharks off Cape Town. I said to the man, "Listen, if I can't touch one of those sharks, I won't believe they're there. You're just stealing money from a blind man." I got to them about 2 inches, nearly bit my hand off. My wife said, "The camera, did she click?" No, she didn't. I can do it again sometime. Flying the channel at 5,000 feet, my co-pilot looked down and said, "Miles, French girls, sunbathing, topless. Let's go down low, have a good look." I said, "Baby, if I can't see, you can't see." We stayed high the whole time. He swore at me. He was very upset. I was a bit upset as well, actually. Anyway, got to make the most of it. Bobsleighing down the Olympic track in Lillehammer, Norway, getting up to more than 80 miles an hour in less than a minute, pulling 5 Gs around 17 corners. Much more shocking and violent than you realize when you're just watching the telly, but very good leadership development, Don. You want to meet somewhere else next time, you guys would love it. Just go to the toilet first, you'll love it. Scuba diving, I've overcome my claustrophobia. False evidence appearing real. I love diving on wrecks now. Skidoo racing in Norway, 150 brake horsepower, 0 to 100 kph, 3.2 seconds, doing over 160 kph over the ice there. And this last clip is me doing this solo kamikaze skeleton run. Do you remember in Canada, the last Winter Olympics, somebody died? This is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Just a great experience, and I'm hoping that I can encourage other blind people to come and do this as well. Apparently a lot of people do it with their eyes shut, so it's not such a big deal, yeah. So isn't that interesting, my friends, that you're now seeing a totally different person. I'm still as blind as a bat, but my life has been transformed, and the only thing that's changed has been my attitude in my head. Before I had a victim mentality, waiting for things out there to change. Listen, I'm talking to you. Some of you here have got to wake up and realize the problem isn't out there, it's in your head. You guys, forget about what other people think. You can't just keep on following the herd. If you follow the herd, you'll just end up being milked, You want to be different, you've got to be different out there, and you can do just about anything you think you want, you can. So after flying to Australia, I thought, okay, what about flying the aeroplanes? I would have flown in what was then the Rhodesian Air Force, now Zimbabwe, a Hawker Hunter. Phoned this chap, he's called Andy Cuban, used to fly with the Red Arrow display team in the UK. Andy, I'd like to come and fly a Hawker Hunter. He says, whoever you are, you have to be a fully qualified pilot. Yes, yes, yes. Went to a big checklist on the phone. A few weeks later, got out the car, and I said, hello, Andy, it's Miles, I'm here. Got my white stick out. Where are you? And where have you hidden the plane? I'm so excited. And he said, whoa, whoa. Aeroplane's here. It's a big aeroplane. And what's that stick for? I said, well, it's because I'm blind. He said, you never told me on the phone you were blind. I said, I'm sure I did. He said, it was a strange conversation. You told me you were not a kind pilot, blind pilot. So we had a big conversation. Here I'm in the cockpit, beautiful Rolls-Royce engine. Ron was talking about them just now. Oh, I was 57, totally blind, and I was actually going to fly the aeroplane. They told me I would never fly. How am I doing the takeoff? Had an amazing time. The Discovery Channel from Canada decided to make a little mini documentary, and this video clip I'm running now is from that documentary. Here we go.
It's a totally different experience from flying his ultralight.
Put your foot over the edge, Miles. That's it.
He can't even find his way into the cockpit.
Put your leg the other side. That's it. Lovely.
A quick overview of the controls, and he's off.
So full of anticipation, lots of adrenaline.
3, 2, runway 01 now.
It's me doing the takeoff.
Woohoo! Okay, that's the blue sky. We're now climbing at 360 knots. Now use the stick forward. Upside down, keep rolling. Very good. Miles, fly this as well as a sighted person.
Oh, man.
You're flying by yourself. I'm not touching it, okay? And G-force. Here it comes. Ah! Come on.
It's pulling 5 Gs, doing a loop.
A G. I'm going to relax in a second. Relaxing. Good enough for a loop. And pulling up.
After a few minutes, though, the wild ride starts to become a bit much.
I'm just feeling a bit sick.
I did the landing trying not to vomit. It's very hard to vomit and land a fighter jet at the same time.
He manages to hold himself together long enough for the plane to land.
With the voice cues, you can fly as accurately as a sighted person. It's amazing. I've never seen it like it.
It was a dream come true, much more real than I thought, just quite amazing, the G-forces.
You know, I keep on saying to people, you can live your dreams. More and more I'm realizing that there are many sighted people in the world who are actually blind to their own ability, and I'm trying to give them vision. One of my heroes is a lady called Helen Keller, who is both deaf and blind, and she said sight without vision is equal to blindness. Oh, you know, I'm trying to get a hold of you beautiful people and saying, inside you, there's the most amazing person just wanting to get out and really fulfill their potential. It's you I'm talking about. So don't be afraid of doing things. You know, at the end of my life, I will be more concerned about things I have not attempted rather than those that I have. Guys, at the end of your life, what a tragic thing to look back and think, wow, I wonder if I could have done that, if I only sort of taken that risk. Take the risk of winning. You see, life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. So give it a go, or you'll never know. What a tragedy looking back and think, oh, wonder what I could have done. So anyway, get out there. After flying that, I thought, well, I've got to go supersonic. That's the next thing. So some of you, this is called an English electric lightning, place called Thunder City, Cape Town, South Africa. Some of you people have seen the film Top Gun, yes? If you haven't seen Top Gun, you shouldn't be in this room. You are so totally unprepared for life. I don't know how you can cope. You know, I've listened to it about 30 times, my favorite film. And the Discovery Channel from Canada were there again. And I don't normally wear dark glasses, you see, but I had to borrow some, asked where the TV cameras were, and I was practicing whipping the glasses off, giving me evil eye like Tom Cruise does in the film. Oh, my kids get so embarrassed, but I think when you got the props, baby, you just got to go with the flow. So anyway, embarrass the kids as well. Here am I climbing up into the cockpit, tiny little cockpit, pretty claustrophobic, and here am I taxiing Cape Town, took off down the runway. It's got 2 engines, that Hawker Hunter you've just seen, this has got 2 of those engines, one on top of the other, flame pouring out the back like you see in Top Gun. But this baby, at sea level, climbs at 50,000 feet a minute. Those F-14s, nothing, baby, they're pathetic. So, Rolls-Royce engines, that's what does it. So, went down the runway, 90 seconds after being stationary with the brakes on, I was at 50,000 feet, doing Mach 1.4 in a vertical climb. I became the first blind pilot in world history to vomit at supersonic speed. And takes guts, as my son said, don't be so disappointed. So obviously I don't want to show you that, but who would have thought, I presume some of you have gone supersonic at the controls of an, yeah? But listen, I'm just a silly, blind idiot who has the audacity and the stupidity to just think, well, let's give it a go. You know, you'd be amazed what you can do if you just get out there and push the limit. So I'll show you a video clip now. I won't show you me being sick. It's not very nice, but I'll at least just show you what it was like doing the takeoff. Here we go. Limits in our life, except those that we accept ourselves. And if a blind man can have the privilege of being at the controls of a supersonic fighter, you can do anything you want with your own life.
We're really accelerating. We're just passing 300 knots now, coming up the end of the runway.
And we're about to go straight up. Now we're going straight up. Oh man, we're now going... Way to go!
Oh, baby. That was just one of the most amazing moments in my life. By the way, if you want to know where that speed is, some of you watch football or rugby. I was flying that aircraft going straight up at the equivalent speed of flying from one football goalpost to the other in 0.2 of a second. Not even Messi can do that, you know. 5 football fields a second. That was a speed, and that's only Mach 1.4. So amazing. So, big thing I've learned, get out of your comfort zone. There's something worse than failing in life, and that is failing to try. You know, what a pathetic thing. Say, well, I might fail. Oh, there's an amazing president called Teddy Roosevelt. I mean, they've got a funny chap, forget what his name is, some chap who's the president of America. I think he's a president. Anyway, but people are a bit worried about Donald Trump, whatever his name is anyway. So, but you want a real amazing president, Teddy Roosevelt, way back in 1910, he said this, in my observation, the people who really count in life are not those who sit back criticizing, pointing out when the strong man stumbles or when the doer of deeds could have done them better. He says the people who really count in life are in the arena. If you go to a circus, you sit in the stands, you look at the arena with the sawdust. He says the people who really count, they're in there. You know, their faces are covered with dust and sweat and blood, and they know their lot, their future, their destiny will never be with those cold and timid souls who have tasted neither defeat nor victory. Oh, God help us. Come to London, come into a cemetery. Here lies Joe Bloggs, a cold and timid soul who tasted neither defeat nor victory. What a total waste of space. Rest in peace if you can. How would you like to get to the end of your life and be known as a cold and timid soul who tasted neither defeat nor victory? Oh, guys, we've only got one life. You're not going to come back as a Brazilian tree frog at the end of your life. Ek is kaput. There's something else in the next life, I believe. But you want to do something now, do it, get on with it. So another thing I've learned, of course, is have a lot of fun. This is me at the bottom of the Red Sea, and this is the only photograph in the world of a blind man pushing a paralyzed man in his wheelchair along the bottom of the Red Sea using my white stick to find the way, you know. Why did we do it? We did it for fun. Didn't you damage the wheelchair? No, we destroyed the wheelchair. But it made a great picture, didn't it? So, and by the way, I forgot, I think somewhere here, all of you, there's a copy of that photograph for all of you, and a few other things which maybe they can be handed out afterwards. Here's the funny thing. Here's a photograph of 2 people with obvious disabilities. And we think in most countries of the world, people think disability lowers your quality of life. Here's a paralyzed chap, no legs, and a blind chap having the time of their life. So it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you here. That's where the quality of life comes from. And this guy, by the way, in the wheelchair, he drives his own car with hand controls. Not a Ford Focus. He drives a 4.8-liter V12 Ferrari. He's got serious attitude, baby. So, big thing in life, keep a sense of humor. You think you've got problems, come with me, you know, to Syria. Look at people trying to find an arm and a leg of a 3-year-old daughter they're looking for, whatever. Guys, we are so blessed. We've got so much. You know, it's not having what you want, it's wanting what you have. Count your blessings. We've got so much. Wake up, guys. You know, make the most of life. What is the point in being miserable because it's a Monday morning? There are as many Monday mornings in a week as Friday evenings. Why not choose to love Monday mornings as well? It's a choice in your head. So, sense of humor is critical. The second last thing I want to say is this. Persevere. Don't give up when things go wrong. When my brother sailed to Australia, I thought I'd better get fit. I'd done no running since I was 17. I was now 50. So I entered a thing called the toughest foot race in the world, 250 kilometers through the Sahara Desert, rucksack on your back. Somebody said, blind man, you're going to get blisters on your feet. Put surgical spirit, white spirit on your feet, toughen your skin. Put it on, was going well. Ran out, went to the chemist to get some more. Didn't explain very clearly, so they gave me acetone instead. I didn't read the label, so I just put that on my feet. So my feet, before the race, were worse than most runners at the end. 600 runners, I had the worst feet, and we hadn't started yet. Oh, and that wasn't the worst thing. I had a stress fracture on my ankle, 2 weeks before, too much weight in the rucksack, cracked ankle bone, sports physio strapped it up. Here a pair of crutches, blind man. Do not walk in it for 6 weeks. But 2 weeks later, I was in the desert starting this silly race. And I thought, well, I'm not going to win, but let's see if I can get through and just persevere. You know, being sort of, excuse the sort of swearing, but in English, there's some people who they just got that tenacity not to give up. You guys, you're going to go through hard times in life, whether it's in your personal life or your business life. It's, in English, we call it being bloody-minded, if you don't mind me saying it. It's having that thing, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep going. Guys, my perception of life is that the creator of this incredible universe will never allow you to face anything that's too big. No matter what you're facing now, there's a way through if you don't give up. And this video clip I'm running now, Carlton TV made a documentary, and this is just a brief thing. And all I'm saying to you, this is a message about persevering. There's nothing special about me except the fact that I'm ordinary. My wife is here. You can go and talk to her afterwards. She'll tell you, no, nothing special about him at all. In fact, all of us men know that behind every successful man, there's a surprised woman. Isn't that right? And my wife is very surprised. So this last video clip is me doing this marathon des Sables. Here we go.
For most runners, a visit to the dreaded medic tent.
It's broken all three sides all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just flat. So just taking that.
You cut the top of the blister off and put antiseptic on. It's less liable to go septic that way. And they're very good at it. That's all right.
Only 2 weeks ago, Miles' feet were already in a mess. He'd been using white spirit to harden his soles for the desert, but a shop assistant had given him acetone instead. Not being able to read the label, he'd used it and burnt off several layers of skin.
That's quite sore there, sir.
With 5 days still to go, a trip to the medic tent and possible elimination had to be faced.
Swinging right, Miles. I can see the finish.
For Miles and John, the proof that they too have conquered the toughest foot race on earth.
It's good to be here. You got your medal? I got it. Very heavy. We don't have to run with that,
Yeah. Superstar.
It's a route I took to Australia a few years ago. What am I saying to you? Oh, my friends, one day we're not going to be here. We're going to die. It's the only life we have. Get the balance back. Some of you are working stupid, crazy hours. You're neglecting your family, your loved ones. You're neglecting yourself. Love yourselves more. Things you want to do before you die. Get the balance back. You know, exercise really. Get your diet sorted out. Be inspiring with what you do outside work. It'll make you a more inspiring leader. Have a lot of fun along the way. Get outside your circle. Keep a sense of humor. Remember the whole thing about just persevering whatever's going on. This is the route I took to Australia a few years ago. When I was 18, sorry, Miles, you'll never fly, you'll never be a pilot. Some 35 years later, as blind as a bat, I had the wonderful God-given privilege of flying more than halfway around the world. Listen, beautiful people. Here, Microsoft, WinDays 17. Never let anybody tell you whether you can live your dreams or not, because the only limits in your life are the ones that you accept yourself. Thank you very much. Have a great time tonight. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miles. Thank you for sharing your story with us.